Is a fellow subject lacking the appropriate seal for report them for mental refreshment post-haste. It's not just a good idea, it's the law. Feeling distracted? Daydreaming on the job?
Hold fire! This one looks friendly. Or not protectorate, at least. Watch yourself! You came from the outside. Does that mean we can finally escape? What? Oh, you must be another case of hypothermia. Extreme prolonged exposure to the cold certainly does terrible things to our brain. It's because the archive controls the surface lifts, which are the only way in or out. And once the Protectorate retook the machine, they locked out all external access. Now, for more than a month, we've all been trapped in these caves, Order and Antes alike, scrounging for food, huddling for warmth, and desperately trying to stay alive. You poor, dangling remainder. Your brain really is frozen, isn't it? Originally, this was a subterranean network that let folks move between the critical components of the archive. But now, for us, it's a tomb. Hundreds of us have already perished within these frigid walls, and no doubt, the rest are predestined to join them. You're what? How? The odds of you successfully doing what our whole army could not is, well, it's preposterously small. Yet, here you are. Regardless, if we are to maximize your odds of success, you should at least let us share our intelligence with you. That seems categorically unwise. Nevertheless, I cannot argue with your results. If you change your mind, I would strongly encourage you to speak with Provost Finch in that building to the northeast. She knows more about what's happening down here than anyone. May the universal equation's final tally see us all escaping this frozen prison.
Is it strange that I miss being shot at? No, not really, but I'd rather be shot in the full belly than starve at the mouth.
Rough setup, ain't it? But at least they got each other.
How can it be part of the universal equation that we die down here? It doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't balance the universe. Unless it really wants those crabbles to be fed.
My scouts reported significant activity in the archive, followed by a mysterious figure emerging from it, which was obviously you. A notion that fills me with questions. So many, in fact, that I have precious little idea on where to start in the asking. I don't suppose you would care to enlighten me as a beginning to our discourse? You took the archive? On your own? That's quite a feat. Even after combining our forces, we've been unable to accomplish anything close to that. My name is Provost Finch, and I've been appointed as leader of this motley band. Correct. At first, we were antagonists, warring against each other and the Protectorate. But then, the Protectorate locked the lifts and doors, trapping us all beneath the ice. With no escape or access to resupply, continuing to kill each other made scant sense. So, I reached out to their commander under a flag of truce and suggested a temporary alliance. We would pool our food, warmth, and resources while here, and could go back to killing each other if and when we make it to the surface again. Over a month, and we made peace about a week later. I held off a bit, needing to really take stock of the direness before making my offer. Hardly. It took days and days of getting more and more close-fisted with our resources before we decided to set terms. But it's a good thing we did. We'd all be dead otherwise. Unbeknownst to us simple combat shifers, there was a master switch that managed the breakers, controlling power to the lifts and exterior doors. As they began to lose ground, the Protectorate garrisoned automechs, flipped the switch, retreated into the foundational buildings, and locked them from the inside. Of course, all we have to do is fight our way into the breaker room and turn the lift and door access back on. But we've lost dozens in that attempt. Now, we wait, having calculated that the odds of rescue being greater than our chances of successfully assaulting those defending automechs with ever-diminishing resources. Thank you, stranger. Perhaps it's just my desperation speaking, but since you somehow made it down here, placing my faith in you seems like a preordained outcome. Good luck.
Welcome to our misbegotten little camp. Pardon any blood or sick you might spot. Our janitorial tech died of ague a fortnight past. I'm the volunteer Sawbones here. Say, wandering type like you probably knows a bit about medicine. I hope. Oh, thank the law. I've always thought the same. Wait, let's focus on my patients before you start playing alienist. I'm on the lookout for a medicine sachet, but I can't leave the folk here. I ask if you had the know-how, because I need someone who can identify it proper. If it's anywhere, it's going to be over in the storage building. Some other Auntie's Choice folk took the place over, and they're about as keen on sharing as I am on being a Sawbones. But I'm sure they're the only danger you'll face. Aside from the man-eating ursopods, bitter cold, precarious pits, and occasional landmines. Good luck.
I can't feel it when I touch my toes with my fingers. Which one do you think has gone numb?
Given you're trying to touch them through your boots and gloves, I'd say it's your brain that's frosted over.
Sorry, time is bits, bits is time. Or are, that is. Have a profitable day.
Of course nobody's gonna see it, that's not the point. I just don't feel like a human being if my back's not shaved clean.
So, you want me to take off your top and lather you with cold water just to cure your vanity?
Of course not, that's idiotic. I just want you to say...
Well, look at that. A fresh face means fresh goods. Or maybe fresh bits. And either is fine by me. I'm sure one way or another, we can strike some kind of deal.
Of course nobody's gonna see it, there's not the... it's not...
Auntie stresses that we should... I'm sure...
Of course nobody's gonna see it, that's not the point. I just don't feel like a human being if my back's not shaved clean.
So, you want me to take off your top and lather you with cold water just to cure your vanity?
Of course not, that's idiotic. I just want you to say you feel sorry for me.
Okay, sorry as I feel about having to live with you.
Mobilizing. Vacuum scan.
Choice adverts claiming each new product is 110% this and that, as if numbers are just another adjective unmoored from evidence. Doesn't it enrage you?
Come now. You can't really expect truth in advertising.
It's not the mistruths. It's the cavalier liberties taken with basic mathematics. How can every product be 110% better? What does that even mean?
Have you tried the new Borstwurst Marisol? I'd say it's at least 110%, maybe 120% better than whatever passed for meat paste in the last formulation.
Who are you kidding? If you ain't cutthroat enough to turn the big profits, you ain't cutthroat enough to try anything on me.
Really? You think that's the right tone to take? You may be ruthless in selling out your partners, but you're a terrible negotiator.
I don't care what you threaten me with. Not only am I smart for taking these supplies, but I'm following Auntie's laws. When scarcity begins closing its fist...
is the perfect time for aggressive capitalists. Buy cheap, hold long, and sell high, and you'll maximize your profits. Don't quote Auntie's laws of dystopian disruption to me. I'm the one who taught you those damn laws, and I hardly imagine she meant to apply them when it is literally a matter of our life or death.
Whoa, who are you? How'd you get past the landmines?
There's rifts down the hall. Is that what you're asking about? We did see some upper shelf pharmaceuticals on, the upper shelves. But I think the rifts have claimed them. We've been told to stay the hell away from those things, and that's exactly what we've done.
Well, will there be anything else? Or can we finish our argument in peace?
No need to be rude just because I discovered you're swindling. I caught this one hoarding supplies, despite agreeing that there'd be better profit to be had if we pool everything we've got. Ever since the lifts locked down, this pile of sprat excrement has been sneaking off at night to move some of our shared inventory into a little bonus stash only they know about.
You're only mad you didn't think to do it first. The fact that I'm the most up-and-coming go-getter is what's getting you steamed. Admit it. You're jealous.
Why would I be? Once I cram your cold body into a vacuum tube, I'm taking all your stuff.
Oh, you are, huh? Just you. Well, I'm relieved to hear we're all saved.
Well, I might be saved, but either way, you're canned crabble meat.
But I'm living up to Auntie's principles. We all know we should deeply gouge to create future earnings. Don't be bitter just because I'm the one who actually did it.
I guess you chose to swindle the wrong tube tech.
Ratcheting up my aggression.
Well, thank you for your help. Or for letting me solve this. I'm not sure who did the killing and who didn't. Well, there's no reason for me to stay here by myself. If I try and move it all alone, I'll definitely get hostilely acquired. I guess I'll call this venture busted and move on.
Hope you get the medicine soon. Whenever I change a bandage, I end up spilling more blood than I staunch. Something's wrong with it? Let me see. What in blazes is this? Even I know not to give this to my patients. Law only knows what it would do. Then I can only hope my medical skills are up to the task. Thanks for going on that wild sprat chase for me. Here's your pay. Rest assured, I'll do everything I can to help. Save giving these folks rifted medicaments.
Hostilities are afoot. Yeah. Investigating hostile intentions. Check your scopes for combatant analysis. Adversary vulnerabilities identified. Proceeding to attack. Standing by to stupefy. Energy transmitter active. They're down over here. Target analyzed. Lay down fire. Fix on their weaknesses. Hostilities are afoot. Target analyzed. Lay down fire. Energy transmitter deployed for battlefield recharging. I have a fix on their weaknesses. Vulnerabilities identified. Energy transmitter active. Combatant scan. Combatant analysis.
Boldly striving to pinpoint source. Doubt, duplicity, seeking and/or cause. Continuing investigation. Footholds.
Marisol, been thinking. You've been on your own for a great while, trusting no one, always on the move. Don't you get lonely?
Of course, it comes with the trade. And with being a coldly calculating killing machine. I'm assuming you're asking because you too have feelings of isolation.
I'm lonely because I had no other option. You chose this.
True, but with good reason. To be alone is to be efficient and free of any conflicts of interest. Why would I willingly choose to tie one hand behind my back?
There are vending machines on the undisputed claim that sell scarves and hats.
What in the name of Auntie's anti-hallucinatory ammonia drops? Who are you? What are you doing here? Starving? Or freezing? Or maybe both? Honestly, it depends on the moment, but we've been trapped down here for more than a month. You? Just you? You realize we lost a lot of lives trying to take the Ascension Conduit Control Building. Huh. Point taken. Well, good luck to you then. I wish I had something to offer you, but we've run out of basically every kind of supply, and there's no store down here to buy more.
Mobilizing.
Each a vital cog. Required.
Frankly, pissed off. Proceeding to attack.
Plasma tolerances exceeded.
Back and scan. Adversary vulnerabilities identified.
Plasma tolerances exceeded.
Descendant! Oh, seer! Why did Providence show us no indication of how this doomed equation would balance? We tried our modest best to make it to the console and reset the lifts and doors, but it went as well as asking a feeble-minded simpleton to solve for Webb's theory of everything. We knew the Protectorate would have automechs guarding it. We knew they would have them stationed in grotesque numbers. But our scouts failed us by at least a factor of 10. We're attempting to retreat and rally reinforcements, but I fear that's little more than wishful thinking. There's only 3 of us left, and it seems likely that...
Wait! Do not shoot! It's not one of ours. Or Auntie's, but also surely not Protectorate. Watch yourself! Hello again. What can I help you with? In earnest? That is the most wondrous and least expected turn of events the equation could produce. That means we should soon be leaving this nightmare behind us. Thank you, stranger. You've saved many lives this day.
The lifts are once again working. I honestly cannot imagine how you've managed such a feat, but on behalf of us all, I am truly grateful. As soon as we finish gathering supplies and rallying together, we'll be returning to the surface. I wonder if this truce will hold or melt in the sunlight.
Caduceus detected. You are clear to enter thermal transfer. Be advised that an Auntie's Choice field manager is present. And
hostile intentions. Protectorate engineers. Reckon they didn't repair much. I'll handle this. Resorting to violence, proceeding to attack. Pump mechanism needs repair. Any tools lying around? Ratcheting up my aggression. Back and stand. Energy transmitter active. Transmitter down over here. Stun weapon ready, Commander. Proceeding to attack.
That manual told me everything I needed to know about regulation of the Archive's temperature flow. Now my Crabbles are adapting to the warm waters. Such a pity that the Archive and the Crabbles cannot coexist in the same ecosystem. But the Crabbles need me. That babbling terminal can look after itself.
Looks like it needs a fuse. A specific kind. My new neighbor is an odd fella. Fancies himself a man of the wilderness. He took the control board for the Spiraton, so I know he's tech savvy. Just not survival savvy. Hopefully he appreciates the care packages I send through the vacuum tube. He'd be long gone without them. To activate the system.
Thermal transfer is fully operational. Later, when I process your data, I will not melt down. Please proceed to cold storage to re-enable punch card retrieval.
Every one of my 14 occupationally honed threat-detecting instincts is screaming for caution right now. Investigating hostile intentions.
These folk built a giant computer taking up a whole moon, but without destroying the climate or its fauna. Reckon Auntie could learn a thing or two.
It is fitting that we move underground to burn out every single route the Protectorate has left on Cloister.
You've been a real factor in our success.
Is the pain of this wound making me hallucinate? Or are you the unforeseen interloper my scouts have been speaking of? Nobody is sure where you came from, though everyone agrees you were not down here when the doors sealed, and watching you move through these caves is quite the sight to behold. You're an ally. Wonderful. Law knows we can use more, especially down here. So why are you here? And more importantly, where did you come from? You what? On your own? We've been fighting for weeks to try and gain access to the controls, and you simply waltz in on a whim? Why aren't you just an absolute marvel? What is your goal now? We could greatly use your help if you are willing. That, I fear, is a seriously dangerous proposition. My soldiers were fighting our way into the complex when those bastards activated the fire suppression system. It froze every person fighting inside the complex, Order and the Protectorate both, to solid ice. They sacrificed every soldier they had to keep from losing that building. Wouldn't that have... No. It never even... I was so focused on saving those remaining that it never occurred to me to push forward. I suppose it speaks to how rarely I'd crunched these sorts of equations under stress, as my compatriots died beside me. And now my inexperience has trapped us here. That is absolutely amazing news! Then we are going to re-establish contact with the surface. We can evacuate our wounded, resupply, and reinforce. May the plan guide you through this underground nightmare. And may all your equations unveil their integers without error.
We have a good collaboration going here.
Ratcheting up my aggression. Adversary vulnerabilities identified.
That cover spot looks much better.
Check your scopes for combatant analysis.
You can't sit up.
Ain't much of a defense for a strategic position like this one. Good.
Retrieve key data in cold storage in its present state requires a series of manual overrides. The first will enable identification of the storage brick housing the information.
If you encounter opposition, remember, our needs come first.
I fulfill my duty to the Sovereign as a loyal Protectorate subject by operating at peak efficacy without error.
I believe the technical term for this is glaciated. Not the worst way to go.
Please do leave me in peace. There is nothing you could say that is interesting enough to interrupt my work. Yeah.
Combat prop. Enemy in vicinity.
Sovereign, forgive me. All I saw was an endless sea of snarling Order traders pouring into the facility, and in that moment, my abilities desperately scrabbled to save ourselves. In my terror, I recalled the facility's safety briefing and the dire warnings of the fire suppression system. Suddenly, my mind flashed into action without the benefit of my wits, and with no thought for my fellows, I triggered the system, horrifically transporting every person on the outside of a pressure door into a grotesque sculpture of solid hoarfrost. And though the paradigm freely sacrifices subjects in defense of the Protectorate, it would be a despicable lie to say my choice was driven by anything but abject cowardice, which now makes mine. I must seek out a sentinel, confess my transgressions, and accept retribution, and I'll do so. Soon. I just need my spine to re-stiffen a bit first.
Identified. Proceed to the cartridge extractor controls. There, perform a manual override to allow extraction.
Yeah. Would be a damn sight easier if we could just blast our way through this place.
focus on their weaknesses.
Let me explode you!
initiated. Proceed to the rail operations platform to reposition brick for export. Note, Protectorate troops have become alerted.
Investigating hostile intentions.
Go through them if necessary.
Target analyzed. Lay down fire.
Plasma tolerances exceeded.
play, Commander. Adversary vulnerability. Activating energy transmitter. Yeah. Investigating hostile intentions. Investigating hostile intentions. Proceeding to attack. Yeah.
Data brick now in position for export to the archive. Initialize the final transport command at the data gateway station nearby.
You are one step closer to flooding Arcadia with untold business opportunities.
Few days of laboring around our frozen fellows were difficult. It was, if I may cheekily say, cold, bleak, and biting. Yet, rather quickly, I found myself acclimating to the situation and resumed what had been my normal banter with the now gelid autocontriver Haas. Given her always frigid demeanor, her disposition is no frostier today than it was before the incident. And, refreshingly, I can now finish my anecdotes without interruption. Frankly,
convenient. Let's head over.
Ratcheting up my stun weapon ready, Commander.
And I relish the thought that continuing our flourishing relationship in this new state.
I have a fix on their weaknesses. Energy transmitter active. Here!
The storage brick is on its way.
stand still in awe of your prowess, and we will make good use of your gift. We'll be coordinating with the surface shortly. May the plan guide you, and may all your equations unveil their integers without error.
Huh. These folk built a giant computer taking up a whole moon, but without destroying the climate or its fauna. Reckon Auntie could learn a thing or two. I spied some books with interesting covers in your room, Marisol. Don't suppose you ever lend them out?
Oh, you'd hardly be interested, dear. They're about Gaussian functions, atomical electrodynamics, very few illustrations. Not for lay people.
I don't know. That electrodynamics one sounds like a page-turner. Always found the volatility of minute fundamental forces fascinating during the science classes of my medical training.
Well, it appears I've misreckoned you, dear. Please borrow whatever tickles your academical fancy. I've a book on gravitational effects on ballistics you might find riveting.
And useful. I wouldn't mind learning more about them Gaussian functions.
Hostilities are afoot!
Don't think we finished our chat. And useful. I wouldn't mind learning more about them Gaussian functions, too. Good bunk time reading. Appreciate it, Marisol. No impact or puncture wounds that I can see. Reckon these folk froze to death.
Prudence dictates we repel invasive elements. Prudence
For all their purported immaculacy, they certainly left it.
Our illustrious ally. We do predict you'll hand over.
Junior Seer Amaryllis will wait you inside.
Felicitations on securing the archive. Though such an outcome was all but inevitable, the plan truly is unfailing. Moving forward, I'll function as your liaison for all matters pertaining to the archive, until such time as its control has been transferred in its entirety back to the Order. In the meantime, restoring the archive to full functionality remains a top priority. If you've made progress in that area, I'd be pleased to record it. Wonderful! Were we to operate the archive without proper heat distribution, the results would be disastrous. But thankfully, we no longer need to account for that deadly scenario. Punch processing and reactor control have hidden caches with useful items as well. Although, You probably lack clearance to know that. Forget I said anything. Well argued. Very well. I'm certain you will be economical about using Order resources, won't you? Simply use this phrase in the terminal on the archive's top floor. Enumerative exaltation. That will unseal the caches. Return when you've made progress.
Cold storage is operational, and your efforts there are satisfactorily complete. I am unsealing access to the archive's upper levels. There, you will need to revitalize the reactor and disseminate the rift processing instructions.
Rift processing may require the services of an exterminator. Someone good, but willing to work cheap.
I have unlocked another display case in the central entranceway. The Tremor Cleaver, the first weapon designed with my aid, awaits you.
Your call, Commander. Either we head to the reactor or punch card processing.